I'm 34. I'm Black American. DC. Southeast DC. My first political memory is having many conversations with my mom, probably starting at around 6 or 7 around the Black Panther Party, which my uncle was a part of before he was murdered in Chicago. And she was talking about her earliest memories of going to the home where Fred Hampton was murdered, where he was shot up, and her father, who grew up in Mississippi and then as part of the Great Migration moved to Chicago. He took her after Fred Hampton was murdered. They shot up this whole house in Chicago. She went to the house. She was about 11 or 12 years old when this happened and got to see the home where he was murdered. And so we talked a lot about what it means to be Black. We talked a lot about what the political climate was in America that resulted in that murder and how we as Black people needed to understand our history and also understand the extent that the American government would go to stop our progress. I don't think it's as effective as it was. I think the current administration is proving that it's not as effective. The past 20 years, where we've seen a decline in, is the ability of our Senate and Congress to be bought and how money influences the way in which people side, the desire to maintain power and control, how that influences the way someone represents their jurisdiction, even if they're going in the opposite direction of the people who put them into office. One issue voters. And so if you're highly religious and you think that there's this gay agenda and the gays are here to attack you, then you can latch onto that. If you are someone who's experienced a lot of poverty, despite the fact that in his actions, he's giving those with wealth and money more tax breaks. He's actually not doing right by the poor. He's cutting a lot of federal funding for welfare, for public benefits. Race, age, ethnic backgrounds have just as much, if not a bigger impact on what engagement looks like. I also think our perspectives on what political engagement means and the value systems we attach to it differ based off of what community you're in. So some communities, political engagement looks like, did you vote for the presidency? Like that is the most important thing. In other communities, you might see that they're like, I don't really care about that. I'm not engaging in that. But I spend a lot of time in my community and in my neighborhood, and I'm going to the neighborhood council and I'm asking for certain things. And I'm like, I am engaging in a way politically and on a smaller scale. Yeah, I think social media platforms have influenced a great deal. So these videos that are 1 minute long or comments, these very short, quick comments, you only can get so deep. So it feels like the social media platforms have made us go wider but less depth. People feel like they know more because they're exposed to so much, but they largely know probably even less because they're not going deep enough into the various issues they're learning about. I was gonna say they're laughing real hard. And they're laughing really hard. It's a notable point on imperialism and this idea of like what the American dream is and what America stood for, and for this fall from this pedestal to be so intense, and to hear, there's always been this kind of notion that Americans are not as globally informed. I'm being generous when I use it. I think a lot of international people would say Americans are stupid or they don't know nothing or they don't know anything, right? Which always makes me feel away because I think people will put that on American population, not really understand that the American government has been intentional in the information that was shared to us in our education system, being very much like America's the best. Don't worry about history. Don't worry about the globe. Don't worry about international politics. America is historically an extremely violent country. Lynching parties, massacres, like people were going to parties to watch someone get cut up and put over a fire. I don't believe that those are innate things that humans have in them. I remember being 11 watching a beheading on the internet. Like that just popped up on my screen on Facebook before I had the censors. So you had access to this information and to very violent things before your brain is fully developed. You get desensitized. We all watched 9/11 live in footage. Like we saw planes and we saw people jumping out of buildings and killing themselves. How the brain is wired to then see that information or want that information in the future. In the same way there's a lot of body cam footage, there's also so many self-help podcasts. There are people who are talking to neurologists and psychologists and psychiatrists who are re-examining reality shows to show more grace and empathy towards the participants. We just have to do better at shifting our culture to say, no, we are going to promote more positive things. Even if media doesn't want us to, even if those in power benefit from us being divided.